Hi everyone. So I'm voice recording right now and I have my almost 1-year-old with me. So if you hear anything in the background, that is her. So I'm just getting the screen record going, and I have the SE625 and I want to explain to everyone how to use the reposition hoop that I purchased on Amazon. It is the Embroidex 4x7 embroidery hoop. I think it's 5x7 in size, but the actual hoop size that you're able to stitch is a 4x7. So I'm going to go to my embroidery file, and I'm using a design by ohanaappliquedesign.com, and this woman is so talented. She has all these stuffed animals that you can make in the hoop. So I'm going into my PES document folder and I'm clicking the 5x7 one. You can see it's a little bigger, but I'm gonna resize that. So I use Embrilliance, and once you go in, it should start out like this with a 4x4 hoop, which is obviously the standard hoop that comes with my SE625. So this is the design and it is way too big. So you don't want to click on the 4x4 and get it all distorted by stretching it out. You always want to click on the size that matches the most, I guess you can say, the closest. So I'm going to go into this button right here, and it shows all the different types of hoop sizes, and I'm going to click the little tab that says like multi-position, and I'm clicking my hoop size, which right there it should show 4x7. If you click anything bigger than that, your machine won't be able to read it. So now this right here on the screen is the shark tail and the fins. So I'm just resizing them to be able to fit inside of my hoop as best as possible. And I am very particular. I like to take up as much room as I can without it exceeding the hoop size, because I want my stuffed animals to be as big as possible. When I'm doing applique, if I'm doing a regular design, I like to stretch it out as much as I can with it being able to fit. So this is the body of the shark, and I'm just sizing it into place, and I feel like I can make it a little bigger if I rotate it, and that's why I begin to do so. I feel like the shark's body is going to be a little longer since I'm able to take up more space. So just remember, when you do things like this, there are certain, I guess you can say, the person who digitized the item, they can go and do certain things for, I don't know how to explain this, a reason. So you see that little dot right there that I'm circling in the star? Those are stopping points that she did so that the needle won't go back to the center of the design and mess it up. So if I try to save the design like this, it's saying that it's too large, but it's not necessarily too large. It's because there are those little stopping points. So I'm just going in and deleting wherever I find them. The only problem with this one that I'm deleting right now is I need that part right here, because it already has the what's it called? I'm so sorry. This is my first time ever really recording myself, so I don't really know how to go about it. I keep saying so it has the placement stitch, and I just need the tack down stitch. So I just copied and pasted, and then I just kind of lined it up so that it'll do the tack down. It'll do the placement stitch first, I'm sorry, and then the tack down stitch. So I'm saving my design, and I like to save everything very specific. So I'll call that the shark body or just body, and then these will be the limbs, which I spelled wrong. So let me fix that. So when you save it, it's going to show up on your screen a whole bunch of different files. So you're gonna have the text, and then you're gonna have the .be. I'm not sure what the .be is, but I don't need them. I use PES files, so I just delete them automatically. And then you're gonna go into the design just to make sure that nothing went wrong. I always like to double check just in case. And you're gonna probably freak out when you see the way that it looks, and it is completely normal for it to look like this. So that's the top half of my shark body, and then this is the bottom half of my shark body. Now, because you open them up and they are both centered, that literally has nothing to do with the way it's going to show up on your machine. It's not going to overlap or anything like that. It has to look like that. And at first I would do this. I'd be lining it up like, oh, the top has to be at the top, the bottom has to be at the bottom. It doesn't. The way that it saves is perfectly fine. Don't mess with it at all. Just open it up and make sure that the designs are there, that they loaded, and then so long as they look fine, just import them into your thumb drive, because if you keep messing with them, something might get out of place. It might look a little strange. So I literally just leave them like that. So now I put them onto my thumb drive, and this is me at the machine. We're gonna put it in the computer, and when you click the screen, by the way, bear with me, I've never actually recorded myself doing anything like this before, so I'm trying my best. Okay, so this is the screen right here on my SE625. So I'm gonna find the design that I want to do, and I have it right here. It's a shark. So this is the tail of the shark, which I already ended up doing, and I just cut out my pieces and I laid them next to me. So I'm gonna start the actual body of the shark. So the trick with the machine is being able to line up your design. So I'm going to click on the shark, top half, and then you want to bring it all the way down. Literally, keep pressing it until it doesn't go anymore, and then you're done. So the first hoop design that's going to come up is a big black square that it's showing on the screen. And that just basically is supposed to help you line up your design, but I actually don't like it. I feel like it's just a waste of thread. It doesn't actually help me line up my design. So I always go into the thread jump, and then I just go to the second one, and then that starts just the regular design that I want to do. So, and I think I should disclose that I've only been embroidering for a few months now. So I'm not a professional, but I'm pretty tech savvy sometimes. Also, I wrote it on my machine. If you look right up at the top, I put my little tip right there because sometimes I forget, and it really helps. So I have my hoop here. I just put some stabilizer on it, and then I'm going to spray some temporary adhesive, and then I have my fabric right here. So I'm just gonna center it as best as I can, and then just kind of press it down so that it stays. I do use this a lot. You can see that my machine is covered in it. I think floating is the best choice. Everything comes out a lot nicer. So okay, so it's set to the first design. Not design, it's one design, and it's set to the first thread color. So I feel like the most important thing is to make sure that you have the instructions. So this is an Ohana applique design, and it's the shark stuffy. So she goes step by step, just explaining everything. And when you're using the reposition hoop, I think it's really important that you kind of have something to go off of, because you have to go back and forth in between the different hoops. So basically it has 4 little knobs, and they click into the machine. So the top half is always with these 2, and then the bottom half is always with the bottom 2. If you're doing something really simple like a name, or just something very not complex, for example, a circle, a square, even a name, like it's really simple. You don't have to be afraid. It's literally the same thing that I'm doing, except you don't have to go back and forth so much. But I wanted to do something kind of complex, just because I feel like everyone will appreciate that more since it's a little more in-depth. So I'm going to start with just a regular white thread, and it's going to do my top half of the outline. So I'm just going to zoom in a little for you guys so you can see a little better. And I have the instructions open just in case I miss a step. So we're going to start that. Okay, so now what you're gonna do, I know it's kind of time consuming, but I definitely think that it's the best way to go. I look at my design on the screen to see what the next step is. So they're outlining the tummy part of the shark, and then I go on the instructions and then I see where that part is. So it started with the outline, and now they're floating a piece of fabric for the belly area after they do the first outline. So I'm actually going to cut the fabric that divides the top and the bottom half of the body, and I'm going to let it do the next stitch as well, which is the outline for the body. So this is so far the top half of my shark. So it actually looks like that. So now I'm going to switch to the bottom two little knobs. And then I'm going to exit out. And I'm going to go back to the home screen. I'm going to cancel the design. And then I'm going to go to the bottom half. So this is where my little trick or secret, whatever you want to call it, comes in handy. The design won't line up automatically. So the top half, you have to push all the way down. And then the second one, up once and left once. It does not look like it's going to make much of a difference, but it makes everything line up perfect. Then you click embroidery, and then remember we're going to jump the first stitch because we don't want the big square that's supposed to show up, and it's supposed to help everything line up, but in my opinion it really doesn't. I just kind of figured this out and it works way better. So we're going to start that now. And then I'm going to take that out to show you. So sometimes there are areas, I'm hoping that you can see right here, that it didn't connect. That is completely normal so long as everything else is connected. So you see right here, it looks completely finished. It looks like it was just made in one hoop. So the reason for that is because that area is going to be covered with the top fin from the shark, and so it's kind of one of those things where they're not going to put any stitches down because you're going to have to float the fin over later on anyway, and then it's going to tack it down and everything like that. So don't be worried if it does skip some stitches in a situation like this. And I'm going to take my fabric, it's like a little Nautica anchors, and I'm just going to measure a little bit, and I'm going to cut out a piece. Okay. And then we're going to put it back on the little bottom ones, and then just kind of smooth everything. And then this is going to be the tack down stitch. So we're going to let that go. Okay, so it tacked it down, and now we're going to switch it back to the top so that it can tack down the top half of it. And then I'm just going to cut the thread right here so that it doesn't pull the fabric. All right, and then we go back to the screen. We exit out of the design. It says okay to cancel current pattern. Okay, and then we go back to the top half, and then remember you go all the way down, and then we have to find where we left off. So we did the first one, which was the body outline. The second one was the belly outline, and then the third one is the tack down. So once we have that, we are good to go. And then we just start again. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm gonna just put the machine back a little bit so that I have the space here. And I'm just going to cut around the placement stitch for the belly. So and we're still doing the top, so all right. So we're gonna let it run. So that's the placement stitch right there. And then we are going to just put this little guy right here, exactly how it is shown in the pictures. So that's what it should look like. And that's what we are imitating. So I'm just gonna hold it down in place. And I'm actually going to stop this video after I do the satin stitch because I feel like that should explain more, I guess, like simple designs where it is just some lettering or something like that. But this video would take way too long if I went through the whole thing. So I'm actually just going to show you guys the satin stitch and then that's it. So based on what the instructions are telling me, it says to float the side fin over the placement stitch and then cut the excess, and then you're going to run the next step, which is the satin stitch for the stomach and the side fin. And then just keep an eye on the fin, make sure that it doesn't get caught in the machine or anything like that, but should be fine. So we're going to start. So that's done, and now we're going to move it onto the bottom two knobs, and then we're going to go back into the screen, and then we go home, okay, exit current pattern, then we go back to the bottom, and then remember, up one, left one, embroidery, and then you're going to jump stitches until we get to where we want to be. So right over here, and then we go back here, and then we let it go. I'm actually showing you a finished shark that I had done a few weeks ago for a friend of mine. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. I'm sorry, I'm not really good with this. And this is just with baby crinkle inside. It doesn't have any cotton, but I did have a dragonfly stuffed little animal that she has on her website as well. And this one I did a few days ago for one of my nieces, and this was actually done in the repositional hoop, and in total it was 4 hooping, so it's one wing, and then the top half of the body, and then the bottom half. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helps you guys. I definitely think that if you're not bold enough to want to write on your machine like I did, definitely keep a sticky note or something that explains to always make sure to fix the bottom half. I'm hoping that you can see it. So it says bottom hoop, always left and then up.